Alright guys, I'm going to do a quick video on the Recaro seats on the GT350 and the GT350R. They both have the same seats in the car. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this video is there's probably a lot of guys out there that are a little reluctant on buying this car. They may be a little bit larger, a little bit wider, and they're concerned about the seats. And that really comes down to the Mustang Recaro seats that were in the GT Performance Pack and the Shelby's and Boss 302s in the last 8 years. In my opinion, they were too stiff. They had a horrible lumbar support. The ergonomics of the seat were absolutely terrible. And that's not coming just from my body, but that's from everybody that's ever been in any of my cars. But I just wanted to show you the seat. And the seat design on the GT350 is resembling the Sportster Recaro CS. It's an aftermarket seat. If you're not familiar with that seat, look it up. And also look up the Audi R8 race seat. You can do a Google image on that, and you'll see the shape of the seat, the size of the seat, the contour, the profile. Everything is pretty much taken from that design from Recaro, which seems to be a very proven design. And like I said, the seats are night and day difference between the earlier versions. Now, I'm just going to show you quickly. This seat doesn't have lumbar, but I just want to show you with a straight edge. If you look down here, where you could see the contour of the foam. Now, on the GT Performance Pack seat down here, the straight edge is like it's like a hole in the seat. So when you're sitting in the seat, your back is constantly sinking in here, causing lower lumbar and sacrum pain. I mean, it's just constant. So that's one major issue with the seat. So when you look at here, I'm going to show you some measurements. So for anybody out there that you know is concerned about the width of the seat, you know, we're going to show you some measurements here. So from the top of the bolster to the other side, we're about 12 3/4, and then when we go down low, we're about, let's see, I'm just trying to get in here and hold the camera at the same time. We're about 11 3/4. So there is a little bit of a taper here, but it's a natural taper. Now, if you look at the bolsters, they're firm, but they're not too big. And what I mean by that, like in the standard GT Performance Pack car, the bolsters come out like significantly more, that it actually makes getting in and out of the car difficult. So your body tends to hit here, and then you tend to hit here, and over time, all the leather and the material is going to be all worn out just from getting in and out of the car. But I don't have that problem on this car. It seems to fit me perfectly well. I do wish that it had leather over here just for a luxury perspective on what I would have preferred, but like I said, they didn't design this car for any luxury whatsoever. So another thing also I'll comment on is, if you've never owned a seat with fabric or Alcantara, this material that Ford is using is not as good as this material that I used on the console. This is the stuff from Europe. This is like $140 a yard. This is probably a knockoff of Alcantara. I mean, it's decent, but I don't think it's going to have very, very good wear properties, just from my experience with this car and with other cars that I've worked on. But other than that, I mean, they hold you in the seat well. But there's one complaint that I have, and it's, like I said, it's minor, and like I said, it's probably only because it's been the summer and I've been driving the car all summer, is my back tends to sweat a lot. So this material does cause your body to retain a lot of heat, and it does cause your back to sweat a lot. So if you are a heavy sweater, you're gonna probably get perspiration on this section here and this section here. It may be something to consider depending on what you're wearing and where you're driving this car. But over time, maybe the car is gonna end up with some bad BO. I don't know. But if the car ever got to that point, I'll just go buy a new seat cover and replace it myself. Not an issue. But like I said, the bolstering is absolutely superb. The seats are super comfortable. The height of the seat also very important. Any of you guys that have driven the Shelby GT350s with the standard seat, which is the power operated and heated and cooled seat, the seating position is a lot higher. This seating position is lower and much more in line with a performance car. The higher seating position feels very weird. It actually resembles sitting in a Dodge Challenger. It just doesn't feel right from any perspective. Not only do the seats, in my opinion, they suck from a performance advantage. You slide around a lot. The leather is very cheap. It's very plasticky. And the height of the seat is just way too high. So Like I said, I just want to give you guys a little bit of rundown on the seats. I think it's one of the most important parts of the car because you're spending all of your time in the seat, and if the seat is not comfortable, you're not going to enjoy the car. You're going to hate the car. So the seat is so comfortable that it actually makes up for the hard ride quality, especially in the New York City metro area, you know, between the suspension, the spring rates, and the hard tires. But like I said, if you haven't sat in these seats, I suggest you maybe go take a look at one at a dealer. If you have any questions or, you know, concerns about getting this version of a seat versus the power operated seats, I'll tell you all day long, get this seat. Do not get the power operated seat. Big waste of money. You don't need heated and cooled seats, and you don't need to sit higher than you really need to be in this car. So I'm going to keep it quick, keep it short, but that's pretty much my take on the seats. I love the seats in this car. Probably one of my most favorite things about the car. I remember when it came off the trailer and I sat in it, it was like light years ahead of the GT Performance Pack that I was driving for 3 years. I also don't get neck and shoulder pain every day sitting in the car. And that's because, I'm going to push the seat forward, is if you look at the profile of the seat, I mean, it does have a little bit of a curvature here, but it's not as aggressive in its design as the leather seat that would be in the GT Performance Pack, the older GT 500s and Boss 302s. That actually makes the seat come all the way forward, so your body, instead of sitting here, your body's constantly here. And what's that going to do? It's going to put you in a very uncomfortable state. You're going to be lurching forward all day long driving the car, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. In my GT Performance Pack, I added 2 lumbar inflators down here and here, and I also reinforced the back of the seat because the support here was so terrible. The shape of the seat was so poor that I was in chronic pain every single day in that car. And like I said, I'm so glad that Ford, you know, spent the time. They went to the drawing board. They spent time with Recaro, and they finally put the real seat in the real car. So hope this helps. Any questions, comments below. See ya.